This is what you work hard for. So I got to share a little story with you. A little while back, my husband and I are headed to the airport. We're heading to Greece to my son's wedding. Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous, but I'm jumping ahead. Let me go back. We're at the counter, international side, Atlanta, Georgia. We get there. They ask, ma'am, can I have your passport? We pass over our passports. We got our bags, getting ready to put them up on the weight thing so they can put them on the rack and they go to the plane. We're standing there 10 minutes and I finally say, sir, is everything okay? He said, oh, yes, everything's okay. I'm just having a hard time finding your ticket. Like, today is the day we're supposed to fly. I went back and checked. Okay, this is what they told me with the itinerary and all of that. And then finally, after about 15, 20 minutes, he said, ma'am, I can't find your ticket. And I just called and they said it was canceled. What? They literally, I'm not even going to say the airline, they canceled our flights to go to Greece hours before we got there. Now, you can easily say, well, you should have checked. Well, since when do tickets change that often unless they're delayed, right? And that's for everybody, not just for us. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, the airline canceled your tickets. And I look at my husband, I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because at this point, I have to be in Greece the next day to attend some of the things that he and his fiance have planned for the family. So I don't have an option not to leave that day. So we called the traveling agent that we've used. I've used her several times international, never had any problems before. And I'm saying, hey, I only have, and this is one of the times that we actually got there 3 hours before takeoff, just in case something popped off. You know how that is. But normally it's just 2 hours. But this time I decided to do 3 hours. By the time we finished, we were already up to an hour. And at that point, sooner or later, they're going to close the gate. So what did I have to do, or what did we have to do? It wasn't as simple as, hey, we'll rebook this. They're like, well, no, they canceled because there was some fraud detected on your card. So the airline canceled, not the bank, not the credit card company, but the airline. At this point, I'm furious, but I don't have time to be mad. Only thing I have time for is to figure out how we're going to make this work. Now, mind you, the tickets, I'm just going to go ahead and drop it out there. The tickets were at $9,000 for 2 people. That was a discount. And that was first class, business class, mind you. Y'all, they canceled the flight. And he had the audacity to say, and I knew he was going to say it and we didn't have a choice, we can go ahead and rebook you right now, because he kept pushing it. We can go ahead and rebook you right now. You can get on this flight because the travel agency is trying to get us to go for the later one. I don't trust Atlanta enough to take a later flight. Too many things happen, too many cancellations. And so the best thing to do is to go early in the day. If they're delayed, at least you take the last one if you have to. I needed to get on that flight. And he says what the price is. The ticket now was that for 1 person. Now I sat back and I thought, I began to cry. I wasn't crying at the fact that they had tripled the price of the ticket per se. I began to cry and I started thinking, this is what you work hard for moments like that. Moments like that when somebody puts your back against the wall and you don't have any other options. Now, could I have easily said and looked at my husband and both of us said, oh, we'll just wait. That was not an option. I was not going to be there with and for my son at the time that he needed me to be there. So guess what I had to do? Here's a credit card. Go ahead and take care of it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't do anything. All I kept thinking was, this is what you work hard for you to be able to do things like that. Now, but what I thought about, this is where the tears came in. I started thinking about, what if I didn't have a successful business? What if I had no credit cards to put this on? What if I didn't have any money at all? Guess what would have happened? Now, I've been in this situation before, but not for that amount. Being somewhere and they canceled, this is years ago. I was still active duty military. Things weren't, money was funny. And I got stranded in a place. And back then, they weren't big on getting you a hotel and all of that. I had to sleep in the airport. I was exhausted. I didn't have the money to go pay for a hotel. Didn't have the money to go get a a rental car and drive home. And I wasn't that far. I think I was in Charlotte that time, and I needed to come back. I needed to go to Atlanta or to Alabama or somewhere like that, but I just didn't have the funds to do that. I was crying simply because I felt so grateful that I was in a predicament and a situation where I could take care of myself. My husband and I could get to Greece to my son's wedding. I'm sharing that with you is because this is why you work hard. It's so you're not in situations like that. And it's not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Call somebody knowing you don't have per se anybody in your circle who can assist or the time for them to figure out where they're going to get the money from or you to get the credit card. And I just looked at my husband and said, you okay? I said, thank God that we're in this situation where it's not the money. We just needed to get there. We'll handle y'all later is what I said. Not to them, but that's what I was thinking. And so what I'm saying to you, this is what you work hard for. When your back is against the wall and there's things that you need to take care of, but because maybe you don't have the money or the credit card, you can't do a thing, especially when your family needs you the most. It was all about getting there. And it wasn't all about getting there 48 hours later, which was going to put us we would have missed everything. Gave them the credit card. They took our bags. We went on our way and we still had time to spare. But I just sat there when I got on the plane like, oh my goodness, what just happened? What are the lessons that I learned from that? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. 2, always have credit cards that have limits up to $50,000, $100,000, or the unlimited version works well, right? And 3, don't sweat the small stuff because there's a lesson that you can learn from everything that you go through. I learned a lesson that day. And one of the biggest lessons is to check the morning of, which I normally do for domestic. I just didn't. I just didn't think anybody would cancel in that, and really understanding that things do happen. And it was very unfortunate and it cost me a lot. Can't say it won't ever happen again, but I learned something that day. So again, this is why you work hard, so you don't have your back pushed against the wall by other people. This is Dr. Sonia. I'll see you next time on the Wisdom Vault.